All right, hello OAS family. It's time for another book review today, and today we are going to be reviewing The Fundamentals of Chinese Floral Painting, Volume 2, Book of the Orchid by Su-sing Chow. So if you don't know Su-sing Chow, he is kind of a very unique artist, both in his in the nature of his artwork, and also he's a unique teacher. I think he's one of just a handful of artists who had the particular background and life experience to be very, very effective cultural ambassadors. And he had a passion for it too. In his heart, he really felt it was his life's mission to bring the beauty and the joy of Chinese brush painting to a worldwide audience. And in that way, he's a little bit of a trailblazer for my father. I remember my father admiring his work and admiring what he was doing as a teacher and his books and whatnot. So we carry a lot of Su-sing Chow's books, and he is a good author to go to if you're looking for quality art that is accessible for a brand new person, but still meaningful for somebody who's been painting for a while. Also, an author who has a mind to not only convey the technical details of Chinese painting, but also the spirit and the philosophy and the history and culture behind it. And then thirdly, an author that has both high levels of skill as a painter and also good command of the English language. So all of those things make him unique. And so we're going to dive into this book. This book is part of a 4-book series. It's on the Four Gentlemen. So the Four Gentlemen, in case you don't know, are Orchid, Bamboo, Chrysanthemum, and Plum Blossom. So these are the 4 subjects that people typically study at the beginning, and the idea behind the study of these 4 subjects is that the study of them can train into you all the critical techniques that you need to render all the other different types of subjects that you would want to do in Chinese brush painting. So often people will start with the Four Gentlemen. And Orchid in particular is relevant right now because it is the Four Gentlemen, the gentleman that represents the spring. So it's springtime now, starting to really warm up, and you're starting to see all the signs of spring, the birds, the flowers opening. And so it is a good time for us to focus on Orchid. So the statistics of the book, it is 10 3/4 inches tall by 8 1/4 inches wide. And it is approximately 144 pages, and once again has instruction in both Chinese and English. Okay, so we're going to get into the book. So here we have an introduction. And once again, Su-sing Chow does make an attempt to bring in poems and historical facts and cultural ideas that place the subject in the context of broader Chinese culture. So I really like that about his books. So we're going to start with a sort of monochromatic study of the leaves, going from leaves going to the right, and just ink studies, so you can see different configurations, and you can just see how beautiful this is. And it's just a single stroke, like just this orchid stroke, and it's done different angles, different thicknesses, but you can see in assigned work it's compelling just completely on its own. So for those of you who are kind of intimidated or don't know where to get started, or look at more complicated paintings and be like, oh, I could never do that, this is a really great subject and a really great book to just show you, wow, it could be this simple. So here we have different shades of ink, and you can see how effective this is. So using sort of lighter shades to suggest things in the background, and darker things to indicate things that might be in the foreground. And yeah, we just have another dimension here when we add these sort of lighter ink tones to the paintings. Here's a lovely piece oriented kind of in the upper right-hand corner, which is unusual and different, and kind of to the subject of an orchid, because you'll see lots of times orchids, they're grabbing onto things with their roots, like other trees and not whatnot. They're so you'll see them in the wild growing a lot like this. This is not very common, so I like this. This is like a rendering that focuses on bringing out the roots. So most orchid paintings focus on the beauty of the leaves and the flowers, but this one has broken leaves and is focusing on the roots. So that's atypical and kind of cool. Right, continuing with ink paintings. And he has very clear instruction here. Now we're getting into the flower stalk and sheath. And then detailing the flower sort of step by step, these little dot strokes that are used to render the center of the flower, and then showing some of the lighter petals around the outside. Different configurations of blossoms, making them like little buds or open facing this direction or that direction. So good mini study of petals and buds and flowers on this page. More ideas of flowers, this time as more completed components that have both sheath, stalk, and flowers and buds. Then with multiple flowers on a single stalk. So now we have a more sort of what we've come to regard as a more complete painting, orchid painting, where we have flowers and leaves, stalks, all in a single composition. This one where the flower is emphasized a little bit more. Now we're getting into the outline style. So you can see here, showing line work, rendering the same subject in this very different style that emphasizes line work. So outlining of both the leaves and the flowers, following very similar format as the first part of the book, but again, focusing on this sort of fine line or outline kind of style. Now back to the boneless or more spontaneous style, but this time in color. And then showing, once again, flower buds, but incorporating color. Wow, that is just simply magnificent. Really elegant simplicity in these paintings, and really beautiful, harmonious use of color. Now we're bringing color into this outline method. And you can see the shading, how it's done. We have videos on how to actually do this shading. It is, it's not a complicated technique, but it is very specific, and you should learn it. I'll try to link to that video in the description. My mother has a rose video where, and also her narcissus video. Anything that focuses on fine line, she does take the time to talk about this technique for how they do the shading in the fine line work. It's really lovely fine line orchid painting here. And then here's kind of like two styles kind of combined. So, you know, we have this sort of spontaneous style here, and then we have an outline method here. And I think the outline method is like subtle enough that it seems to pair very, very well with this spontaneous style. So this is really a lovely finished painting, this duo. Then we have freestyle flowers with the outline. Another finished composition in the outline style or gongbi style. Here we have the spontaneous style and color that puts the orchid in an environment with other things. You see rocks and shorter grasses and whatnot. So this is very typical of what you would see in a sort of finished orchid painting. So this is it. The last one is orchid with a little hint of a bamboo, which is the next volume in the series. So very nice transition from volume 2 to volume 3. So that is it. That is the book of Chinese Fundamentals of Chinese Floral Painting, volume 2, Book of the Orchid by Su-sing Chow. So you can find this book for sale on our website. It is one of our more popular books that is not written by Ning-ye. So remember the name Johnson Chow because we have a number of his books and they all have kind of this same quality. Very elegant, simple, accessible paintings with very clear instruction, and the lessons are given with this cultural background, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of historical facts that really make the study of the subject a richer cultural experience, not just an experience in technical art. So we hope you enjoyed this video book review. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. And thank you for joining us, and we wish you happy painting.